I already left. I'm out the door.
No! But you approved of this topic earlier today.
Yeah, but that was before I got hit with the crushing feel of rejection.
I didn't say I wouldn't do it for you. I'm just
saying
that...
guys, we got it recorded. She said she didn't say she wouldn't do it.
My God. So, people. Hello everybody, welcome to yet another episode of Annie Chatbox. By yet another episode, I mean episode 37. If you haven't guessed, this is Cammie and I'll be your host today. You can find us at twitter.com/theanniechatbox. You can email us at anniechatmail@gmail.com. If you want to listen to us, check us out on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, and SoundCloud. Again, as always, we also have a Patreon. If you are feeling ever so kind and would like to donate, go to patreon.com/theanniechatbox. But it's not just me in here. Thank God it isn't, or it'd just be a lot of dawdling and talking in circles. So I have my dearest, darling friends. We will start with the one that is furthest overseas, and that is Jonathan Joestar.
Hello there.
Along with him, we have the gentleman Craig.
What up, Internet? How's it going?
And last but not least, my beloved Cassie.
Honestly, I think I would be fine with an entire podcast of Cammie just talking to herself.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that thought that.
Right? We could just have, start... Oh my god, okay, so... Patreon tier.
Oh my god.
Cammie... Hold on, let me finish. So, for $30 or something... Cammie ASMR.
Oh my god, no. If
highest.
You're doing ASMR, you have to do it, Cassie.
No.
Cassie, I'm gonna pay you $50 just to give me some ASMR.
The highest.
Cassie, I'll be damned. I'll just straight up pay you $50.
The highest of, tiers, and it's so worth every penny.
Oh my god, yes. No, Cassie's the voice actress here, folks. Pay for
You're
her
the singer.
to do this ASMR. Yeah, but you don't sing SMR.
I beg to differ. If Goku can have an ASMR video, so can you.
Oh my god, I forgot that exists.
Shoutouts to Octopimp and his ability to turn a hype moment into a very soothing ASMR.
That is so random. Oh my gosh, I have to check that out later.
It's good. It's very good.
But I will have you know that ASMR is not the main topic of our episodes today.
Damn it.
I'm sorry, everybody. Disappointment. Please don't leave. Don't walk out on us.
I already left. I'm out the door.
No! But you approved of this topic earlier today.
Yeah, but that was before I got hit with the crushing feel of rejection.
I didn't say I wouldn't do it for you. I'm just saying that...
guys, we got it recorded. She didn't say she wouldn't do it.
My god. So people listening, do you ever want to just drop what you're doing and fly to Japan, but you find that you don't have the money or time to do so? Me too. I feel you. So, in this episode, we want to explore ways that we and you listeners out there can get a taste for Japan wherever you may live. The joys of Japan in your own backyard, so to speak.
For the low, low price of $19.99, you too, can totally go to Japan.
Snake oil practice.
Yeah.
I really like this background music, though.
It's a good jingle / in-joke.
Oh, nice. So I think on the doc, I broke it down into components of things that I guess, to me are elements of what I would want to explore as a tourist in Japan. And also just by things that are also accessible where we are. Most of my knowledge comes from things that are obviously in the United States. I am so glad that John is here to weigh in on this, being over in the English, in the England, yay.
In the English language.
In the English language, that's where he lives. He lives in British accent. Okay, all right.
completely off topic, but John was talking to me about how he watched some sort of video that was about how apparently they were trying to disprove that the British accent is the sexiest accent currently available.
Oh.
And
How do they
I was
disprove
just
this?
like, listen, dude. Like, the English accent is amazing, but nothing for me beats the Latino accent.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one. If we're talking about suave and charm, yeah, that one's kind of unbeatable.
But hey, British accent, close second.
Yes.
I'm gonna have to find that video and link it to you at some point.
Sure thing.
We should have, like, references to videos that we link in our description. Ooh.
Yeah.
Noted.
Alright.
Noted.
So yeah, I guess the first thing that I broke down as far as getting a taste for Japan is obviously maybe practicing the language. You can definitely look into getting Japanese lessons. You could maybe look for classes, whether that's in a school program or private lessons, or you can also self-teach yourself through means of the internet. I know a couple of websites, one specifically, Tofugu.com, that has a lot of really good self-starting teaching yourself Japanese resources, and I will link that in the description. But Cassie, also, you were taking Japanese lessons for a brief time, correct?
I had to stop right now because I'm poor, but it was fun. And it just goes to show you do not have to go to a college university to get lessons. There are a lot of people. I was actually practicing under a graduate student going into a master's program, and his way of practicing his Japanese was to teach people. So he would volunteer at like community places and teach some classes at community colleges. And in his spare time, he tutored me and one other student. Who we weren't in classes, we just met once a week and just got into a Skype call and practiced our Japanese, and he would teach us via like Google Chalkboard or whatever it was called.
That's really cool.
And it was really neat, and it was a great way to show that you can really utilize your technology. He would make flashcards for us that he would let us download through the flashcards app, and it was super helpful. So just because you can't get into a university class, it's good to keep in mind that there are a lot of other resources out there and people willing to teach you for not $1 million an hour. I think I paid $80 a month for it, and that is super cheap for a tutor, a personal tutor at that. Private lessons.
And from what you told me too, it was like he had a whole curriculum set up as well, which is pretty cool.
Yep.
Like,
He did.
didn't you have things to review each week and like topics covered?
We had a set of kanji to learn. We always, so it started out with, of course, learning katakana and hiragana, which if you're going to learn Japanese, that's where you need to start. Because those are the basic forms of writing and also basic sounds in the Japanese language. So once you can get those down, you can, for the most part, sound out a lot of things. Because even with very complicated kanji, there will oftentimes be hiragana written off to the side for you to sound it out. So they're really good about that with the Japanese lessons. Japanese language. That was not something we had in Chinese, but that's a completely different story for a different time. But yeah, we would sometimes read picture books, and we would be expected to read the picture book by ourselves, like outside of class, or he would give us proverbs that we would need to learn, and it was fun. I'm sad I can't keep doing it right now.
Maybe you'll be able to come back to it. I hope so. It sounds like it was a lot of fun and very cool, unique experience to have, especially because I didn't realize that you could like get lessons from home. That's really cool.
Yeah, I was always in Skype.
I initially heard about these sorts of things when I was in college, but I've also seen like postings on community bulletin boards and stuff, especially since I've been here in DC. There are also conversation meetups that happen for people. So like, let's say if you are learning Japanese and you want to practice with somebody that actually speaks Japanese, sometimes there are like little coffee shop meetups and stuff where you can have just like small conversations. And maybe vice versa, somebody that's there wants to practice English or another language that you may know. You guys can kind of just have some exchange conversation time. And that also is kind of a cool thing that you could do.
Nice.
A lot of times they're also free.
That actually just reminded me that the Japanese festival that I go to, Japanese and anime cultural festival that I go to every year, called Tokonatsu. They've started really pushing for people to do panels there, and the year just gone, past taco, someone did do like a basic survival guide of Japan.
Ooh. Just like things you need to know how to say?
Yeah, he just like some certain basics of basics things, and just and it was ended up being more of a little discussion that he was just leading, with anyone being able to chime in with any tidbit that they knew. I also many years ago bought myself a one of those phrases, Japanese phrases handbook things, and I remember going through it, and I managed to teach myself how to ask where the bathroom is, which is
yes, that is a very important one anywhere you go.
Tare wa doko desu ka?
Nice. I think that covers some bases as far as like language goes, unless I missed something or anyone else has anything to chime in. Otherwise, we'll go into food and cuisine. So which is fun, because there's like the world of going to restaurants, and I mean that can always be a search, because I mean you can go to like I've been to a couple like rotating like sushi bar places, but then I go to like authentic izakayas and get like food. So that's always fun to explore as well, because I just always look up and I wonder like how authentic or like what kind of variety of food I can find at these places that I go to. Cassie and Craig have a really good one right by where they live. Called Maki, that has a lot of stuff, is very authentic. I feel like it's one of the ones that when I go in there, I think they say irashaimase, but I can't
They
can't
used
remember.
to. They don't as
really?
much anymore. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. At least on the last time we went.
Yeah, not the last time we went at least. But then that place is a little pricey, so we don't go very frequently.
Good food, though.
Yeah.
Very good food.
Very good food. Very, very good food. I can't actually speak to how authentic it is, but I feel like someday we should just go and get sushi maki and then, like, get on a plane and go to Japan and, like, eat actual food and compare and contrast. But
Yeah.
I have actually heard once you taste, like, real, authentic Japanese, like, ramen and sushi and stuff, it's never the same when you go back, so I'm kind of terrified to do that.
That's what I've heard, too. It's kind of heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I give Maki props because that was the first place that I ended up trying takoyaki, which is fried octopus balls. And you actually see them in anime a whole lot too. They're just like little brown, and then they have like green or brown flakes on top of it. And I love it, and I became like instantly obsessed. And any place for me now, if I go to like a Japanese restaurant, I get so excited if there's takoyaki, and I'm just like mine. And I like jump on it. It's great.
I might have to try it next time, because I've been glancing at it every time I go. I even glanced at it the last time we went, and I was like, no, I'm going to stick to my bento that I know is good. I'm going to get my tonkatsu, and I'm going to get my bulgogi, which again is, I'm not entirely sure Japanese. I think that's more Korean, but whatever. I'm going to get that. And I'm going to get, what's it? I forget what I always get. Sushi. I'm going to get my sushi.
California roll.
Yeah.
Shh, don't out me. That's like the least sushi of the sushis.
On the subject of takoyaki, another Japanese event that I've been to here in the UK, Hyper Japan, specifically Hyper Japan Christmas market. They had a Hatsune Miku thing going on, which is why I went there in the first place. But they actually had some quote-unquote authentic Japanese cuisine sort of festival-style stalls set up. And one of them was... So I say quote-unquote because I don't know how authentic it actually was. But it looked legit, so...
oh, yeah.
And one of them was doing takoyaki, and I was like, I'm here. Takoyaki is there. I have to try this stuff. Don't know if I'm going to like it, but at least I can say I tried it. And the day I had it, I was like, it's okay. Not something I'm likely to go out of my way to get ever again, but it's okay. I can eat this. And then the very next day, after I'm home and therefore cannot get this stuff anymore, I'm like, I want some more takoyaki. I want some more takoyaki. There's actually a couple of other Japanese things that when I first had it, I was like, it's okay. I could probably take it or leave it. And then the moment I cannot have it anymore, I'm like, I need more. Give me more of this thing.
Speaking of food outside of restaurants, there's this place that I have yet to drag Craig to, and we've been living together for almost 3 years now, so that's kind of inexcusable, but I will. There's this place called the Fuban that you can go to.
Yes!
Which is not a restaurant, but it's like the best way I can think to describe it is like an Asian food market.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You go in and they've got like mochi ice cream and like all of the imported candies and all the imported drinks, and you can actually go to the back and like buy like specific like fish, and you can get the eggplants and like all the stuff that's normally used in traditional like cuisines that would normally be in like an Asian dish. And I'm saying Asian because there's like a lot of different stuff there. You can get Chinese food ingredients, you can get Japanese food ingredients, Korean ingredients, like lots of different stuff to make lots of different cuisines. And it is so cool. And I remember the last time I went there, I walked past every single thing that probably would have been really cool for me to give any attention to and just bought a crap ton of mochi ice cream.
Did you buy the melon pan?
I also got melon pan, and I got a bunch of Pocky. And
yep,
I got
like
the gummies. I forget what they're called because it's in Japanese, but it's like a fruit gummy. It's like flat.
Okay.
Like a circular flat gummy.
Right.
Oh, I know what those are.
Yeah, and they're like an individual pack. Like it's not like you get like a package and then there's like a ton of them in there. It's like each one is individually wrapped, and you like eat it. And then I got white rabbit candy, which is a candy that I got addicted to when I was in China, which is a little white, almost like Tootsie Roll candy that's wrapped in tofu paper or something like that.
I am so glad you brought up Fuban, just because that was another thing to mention, is definitely going and looking for just specific like shopping markets and stuff like that. Like, for example, the suburb in Atlanta that my boyfriend used to live in was very much just Asian populace. And so they had, like, a bunch of grocery stores. They also had a big one called H Mart, which is specifically, like, Asian specialty groceries and treats. And, like, they had the little bakery in there again. Like, if you, like you said, if you want to get melon pan or you want to get, like, seasoning for curry and stuff, like, all the relatively, I guess, like, authentic stuff is there. And those are really cool to see. Just a lot of really neat food to look at, try, sometimes question why you try it. I don't know. I get a little unnerved sometimes. Like, anything with seaweed for me, I'm not a big seaweed fan. But it's wild. There's a lot of cool stuff to explore there.
It can be hit and miss if you don't have a specific Asian market that local to you to go to. At least try looking down the world food aisles in your local supermarkets, and it can vary location to location and specific franchise of supermarket, but some of them do have may actually have a selection of Japanese or other Asian snacks and foods to have down their world food aisles if you luck out and buy one of them that stocks that stuff. I unfortunately am not, but I do have another means of getting my taste of Japan. Like there's the loot boxes, loot anime and loot crate. There's also a couple of different loot subscription boxes rather that specifically deal in Japanese snacks. One which I am subscribed to is called Taste Japan, but there's also TokyoTreat. Taste Japan is £15 a month, and TokyoTreat is actually $14.99 US. So technically actually cheaper, and ships worldwide for no extra cost beyond that price. So I'm effectively paying for the more expensive one, but that was the one that was around first.
Yeah, because I just looked it up, and 15 pounds is about like $19.90 in US dollars, almost like $20 a month.
Conversion rates, yay! And yeah, they send a selection of food, occasionally drink, in the case of Taste Japan. TokyoTreat seems to send more drinks than Taste Japan does, from the looks of it.
I have a quick question for you. What's maybe your favorite thing that you've tasted from the box, and maybe what was your least favorite thing that you tasted from one of the boxes?
Oh, I love umaibo. Anytime they send me umaibo, I'm like, yes! They send me more.
What is umaibo again? That sounds so familiar, and my brain is just short-circuiting. Is that the stick thing?
It's like a puff corn stick.
Okay, yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, I was right then. Okay, cool. I thought I knew what I was talking about.
And they come in such a large variety, and I've said that if I ever do visit Japan and go to a sweet shop in Japan, a candy store in Japan, and they sell umaibo, I'm probably just going to fill a bag full of them. Because I just am addicted to these things. Another thing I really liked, and one of the other things that I've had, and like initially was like, not sure how to feel about these, or I could probably take them or leave them, and then the moment I was finished with the pack, I was like, I need more. Where these it was like dried sweet, it was dry sour plum in honey.
Ooh.
And so they were like kind of, they were kind of sour but kind of sweet at the same time. And yeah, they really took a bit of getting used to. I was the only, like, I let the rest of my family try them, and I was the only one in my family that actually liked them. And I was like, yeah, they're alright, I could probably take them or leave them. But the moment I finished the pack, I was like, I want more of these things, and I can't get any more. I just have to rely on them sending more.
But what about the thing that made you gag?
Oh, that would have to be... it was called Bean Snack. That was literally what the name of it translated to. Kuromame Oyatsu. I've actually got the sheet for this here right now, because it comes with a little sheet that explains what it is. And so yeah, it was black bean snack, and they were it was a pack of black beans that you just had to munch on, and they just was like, ugh. I will admit there's a few other things that are just still sitting there because I haven't had the courage to actually try it yet. But yeah, that was one thing I tried. I was like, yeah, I don't like these.
I noticed that Craig hasn't been talking very much. So is there a way that you tend to access, whether it be food or language or anything else, in the community, Craig?
The only way I get into the community is through anime, and I've gone to Japantown and San Francisco when I visited my friends in the local area. Once we had ramen, and I bought a Love Live thing, and we saw a bunch of Japanese merch, and saw actual English translated manga and Japanese translated manga. So the takabans is what they're called. So that's basically all I have. I'm kind of boring in comparison to the rest of you all.
Well, I wouldn't say that. You go to cons. Yeah, and I was saying, you go to cons, which is something that you've actually just started doing within the last year, which is kind of cool. Like, I got to go to your first con with you, which was like...
If anything, we you and me, Cass, we went to, like, it was really late at night, but KomoriCon 2016, if I recall correctly, there was, like, this panel where they were talking about folktales and whatnot. And
Japanese folk tales and, like, ghost stories, and that was actually really interesting.
Yeah. So. That's pretty authentic.
Yeah, it's actually really cool when you can find like cultural, like specific events at cons. Apparently, I missed this at Otakon, but my friend, I saw a Facebook picture of her later. Otakon had like a kimono sizing and like try-on workshop where you could, put one on and take a picture. And I was like,
oh, nice.
Yeah, they had one of those at KomoriCon that you could have gone to.
Wait, did they?
Nice.
Yeah, they did. It was on the first floor.
Huh.
Now when I go to a con, I'm just going to be like, nope, forget all the AMV stuff, forget the merch. I'm just going to
lies and slander. You'll never be able to abandon the AMV room.
Just find me in the dealer's room.
You can't. If you're an AMV editor, it's almost like a mandatory event. If you don't go, you're going to get murdered.
Damn, that's
okay.
intense.
I'll just go at one of the big cons where my videos never make it in, and I'll be like, screw you guys, I'm gonna wear a kimono. It'll be great.
I think you would look super cute in like a summer yukata. I think that would look really cute on you.
Yukata.
Yes! That'd be so fun. Only if you come with me. Next con we go to together. Dealing it.
I specifically want you to have a summer kimono, because those are the ones with like the bright colors, and I feel like on your like really pretty skin, it would just pop.
Patreon $5 tier, Cassie will give you a genuine compliment because she is beautiful and good at making people feel good about themselves.
Though. Bright colors just work with you. Bright colors are kind of like iffy with me because of how freaking pale I am. Sometimes it just washes me out.
Let's get you a dark purple kimono.
Oh, yeah. But then again, dark colors also, it's like, it sucks because when you're super pale, if you get something too dark, like black, you look like you're dead. If it's too much black. But if you have too much white, it's like you're almost like not wearing anything. And then it's like you have to pick and choose. I have to have like a pink thing. And then we'll go ahead and put the boys in kimonos too.
Yes.
Why?
I mean, they do technically have male yukatas, but...
Yeah, I was about to say.
Okay.
But I specifically want you in a pretty flowery one.
Put John in it. Don't put me in
do.
it.
Oh my god.
They're going back to Tokunatsu. One of the things that they have had there for a while now has been a selection of kimonos for people to go in and try on, along with a tea ceremony. And again, they've been pushing for people to do more panels that are like more other parts of Japanese culture outside of just anime. Yeah, there's been a lot of interesting things going on there to get a better feel for Japanese culture, and I believe they're pushing for getting some food stands there as well for more traditional Japanese festival snack type setups. I actually can't remember the specifics about that, just hearsay at this point, really.
Going back to the last piece, which is just more of grasping more culture, there are a variety of things that you can find and do and ways to access them. Get in touch with your local or closest Japanese consulate or embassy that you can. Usually they will have a website that features a lot of really cool things like traveling to Japan, what Japanese like tourists or people visiting need to know in the US. But most importantly for me, they usually have an events calendar. And it shows basically anything within your city, state, or area that is relevant to Japanese culture that's going to be happening. So there is one in DC. I abuse their events calendar. I get emails from them. And I learned there that in April, because there are cherry blossom trees on the waterfront in DC, there is a big Japanese culture festival and cherry blossom viewing that happens. And I am so excited to go check that out. Along with, they have a series of anime films throughout the past 100 years that's screening. I get things about art exhibits or like specific political talks about things that are going on relatively in Japan between their politicians and ours, etc. There's a lot of cool stuff. I was looking at the Portland Japanese embassy over in Portland where Cassie and Craig are, and I found out that a college is doing a Rakugo showing, and I flipped out. Like,
I was talking about that with Craig, and I was like, I want to go, but I don't want to go alone. And he's like, well, I mean, I'd go. And I was like, but it's on stage, and you won't be able to see anything, and you probably won't have fun. And he was like, I'll go anyway. And I'm like, I'll get back to you.
Craig will be a chaperone. Craig's such a good boy.
Yes.
That's
I am
what
a
I'm there for.
26-year-old woman. I need a chaperone.
Hey,
If you don't want to go alone, he's the company chaperone.
I need to
That's all, right?
I need to fend off anyone that would bring harm unto you with my karate. No, I don't have any karate skills. I'm not even that strong.
So yeah, definitely look for cultural organizations that are around you. Subscribe to newsletters within that realm, because they usually will be pretty relevant information. Along with, obviously, if there are any local like meetups that are surrounding anime or Japanese culture or something, or anime clubs, you can also check those out as well. Yeah. I feel like there's a lot available to us where we are, as long as we do some research.
Indeed, and I just want to say real quick that while you will be getting some information about Japanese culture from watching anime, do not let that be your only source of information regarding Japanese culture. Do not claim to be well versed in Japanese culture just because you watch some anime. There's a lot that they don't really go into super detail about. It's like saying, oh, I am familiar with Britain because I watched Doctor Who and Harry Potter. It's like, no, you don't.
I mean, I beg to differ. I obviously know everything about British culture.
There's just like literally so much out there, and if you're in college, seriously search for everything you can, because that's one of my biggest regrets is like that I wasn't a Japanese major, but like there were really cool things going on within the School of Japanese Studies that I wish I did or took part in. All right. Hopefully we helped you out and got you sparked for the mood of tourism, because we're going to move into our anime review for this episode. But before we do that, I do want to thank you, John, for joining us for this main topic. And you may slyly slip out as you see fit.
Yeah, I had fun, but yeah, I am dipping out of this conversation because I have not watched this series. Bye-bye.
Cammy gets to talk about a show that she swam.
I do. I swam. This might be the end of shows that will, because we're already approaching the end of this season when this came out. I think this is the last show out of the ones that I swam for the spring season, and this one is Sakura Quest. Sakura Quest is done by Studio PA Works, and PA Works has also done titles such as Shirobako, Glass Slip, and True Tears. And I always think of Hanasaku Iroha and Nagi no Asukara as well. They do pretty things. And so the synopsis for Sakura Quest goes, in the wake of a nation-side movement during the bubble economy period, a small town in the countryside has revived its mini-nation tourism program. Oh, see my segue, guys? I'm not completely obvious. Hiring 5 girls as travel ambassadors. The series will follow a year's time of the 5 girls as they work in the tourism agency of a small failing town in an effort to reinvigorate it. So I chose this show. I had a general amount of hype for this show when I heard about it, considering that it was another PA Works older girls working title, to which I love Shirobako endlessly. And I think that Hanasaku Iroha also fits into that category as well, though it is a high school girl, but there's a lot of similar morals going in there. I did notice something that someone mentioned about this show in just a passerby comment. They mentioned that as compared to something like Shirobako, where these girls get into the job that's in the field of their dreams, Sakura Quest is a situation when you don't make that cut, when you are struggling, when you just have to find a job and you find yourself in something that you're not familiar with and not what you necessarily want to be doing. But how do you, make your experience with that? Which I do think is interesting merit. It's something that I hadn't anticipated going into the show. But as far as the quality of how well executed it is, we will go into that now, starting with story. So, yeah, I think that the story is pretty straightforward. It takes over the time of a year, though I don't know. I felt like 25 episodes was a little bit long to me. Sometimes, pace-wise, I felt like this meandered a bit.
What are you talking about, Cammy? They have to be there for a year, so do we.
Fair enough,
like,
man.
I agree, though. The pacing in the show, story-wise, even though it had a very to-the-point story that definitely I could follow, I felt that there were a lot of episodes that either could have been nixed or were not necessary to the development of the characters, or just was just so long.
The through line was there, but then they got distracted by like a subplot, which would take 4 or 5 episodes, and it went up to Cass when it was all said and done. And I told her, if they had nixed all this would have been 12 episodes, and this would have been a much tighter package.
I agree with you completely. I had that talk with Get as well when we were just talking about, like you said, I really like that you said through line and subplots, because my biggest issue with this show, as I'm sure this was also an issue for you guys, was just that there were so many little unnecessary subplots and meandering that didn't even necessarily go anywhere, and I was like, why did I just kind of sit through that? They were either unengaging or just kind of threw off the key narrative that I wanted. This series felt like it had a setup for a strong key narrative, but they didn't really know what to do with it. To me, it felt like they started with a straight line and then started doing some squiggles off to the side, and then it became this kind of meandering pattern.
Either that or somebody came up with a beautiful, great idea. They put the piece of paper on the table and said, this is what I want to do. And everybody agreed to it without reading the fine print of it. It was going to be an over 20 episode show. Because then they said, oh crap, we've got to put something in here. And I feel, and it sucks, because most of the time when I get a 12 episode show, I'm like, oh god, it needed more. But with this show, it's one of those things where less would have been more to me.
I agree. I also think this was the first case for me, mostly in terms of, I'd say this falls under story and characters to a degree, that I think a director really, really, it shows how different it can make a show. Because, and again, this was bad on my own judgment, but, character designs were very similar, story-wise was very similar, same studio. A lot of this was similar to Shirobako, and I was really, really hoping to get a lot of value that I got out of Shirobako with this show. Right. They're not the same directors. And I noticed just very little things in, the character's motivation, in the way that, they would explain a feeling. There is a scene in Sakura Quest where a character has a big blunder in the job that they do, and then they kind of frown, and then we cut to some other scenes, and then it goes back to the character, and she's in the car, and the other person kind of is like, okay, you should stop feeling bad about what you did, and she's like, you could tell, huh? Versus a scene similarly in Shirobako where a character makes a wrong decision, and then her higher up basically spirals onto but you need to take care of this now and do this, it's all going to go bad, and she almost has a panic attack until another character goes, hey, calm down, we're going to solve the situation right now. That's two similar situations, but I felt like one had so much more weight and spirit to it, and one was very flat. And I think on storyline, a lot of the time, while the setup initially had potential, I feel that Sakura Quest as a strong story fell flat.
Yeah, and it's just, it's unfortunate, because there's a difference between having a very good pitch or having a very good synopsis or having a very good idea. It's completely different from executing that idea in an effective way. And I'm not going to tell you, there were some moments in the story that really got to me. There was one episode that actually I can think of 2 episodes where I even teared up, because the story did and went in a direction that I wasn't expecting, or it was just very well taken care of or handled with care. But that was not the entire ride. And unfortunately, I'm not somebody, and I think most people are not people who want to sit through 8 episodes of almost nothing happening to get one solid conclusion.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. I think that there were a handful to me of pretty okay, pretty good episodes. There was one episode, maybe 1.5, that made me cry. But yeah, it's like it's looking for a needle in a haystack, and the show is the haystack in this sense, like the entire show.
I told Cass when we got done with it. I told her, I was like, so these episodes, there's like gold nuggets that were relatable, or they're handled really well, or they finally hit a resolution with like one of the main female characters, but you have to sit through so much bullshit to like get to these resolutions. And not to say that like everyone, the supporting cast is like shit, but the interactions and what they do is just I don't care. I didn't care. And it should be noted that, like, I initially kind of, like, wanted to bounce off this show, but Cass is like, no, you gotta fucking put your work in, dog. And I was like, okay.
If you sign up for a show, you commit.
I know, and I did, and
I committed to Nadesco, and I'm committing to another show currently, and I will finish it.
Oh, I know. It's just when, like, even in the first 6 episodes, like, it was kind of just there. Even watching it dubbed, I was like, even with it being easier to watch, this is kind of like not even entertaining. Oh, episode 7 has a cute nugget in it. Okay, cool. All right, yeah, I get it.
It's actually funny you mentioned the side cast, because that actually brings in a good segue to characters, but also my biggest like stance with characters as well. Again, I need to stop comparing to Shirobako, but another thing that made Shirobako very strong is that along with the main cast of girls, the side cast is really quirky and like memorable, and they all have their own personalities. I didn't give a shit about the bulk of the side cast in this show.
Oh, you didn't
I don't even remember their names.
You didn't even like you didn't like police officer or bus driver or grumpy old grandpa man?
And that was oh my god, I wanted to like the old men, but I really didn't. That was also a disappointment. I liked Sanderu-san, even though I don't understand him. He's there. He's funny.
Oh, Sandal?
Yeah, Sandal.
Yeah.
Oh, Sandal was great. He was the source of comedy in the show, because a lot of and that's another thing which I guess we'll tip over with characters, but like a lot of the characters' quirks that they tried to make seem funny were not very funny.
No.
And then it would just come back and come back and come back like a bad joke, because it was one. And I just...
Yeah, they're like Sandal I also liked just because he kind of plays the role of like that weird kind of crazy person, and I think that fits in a very small town.
Yeah, the weird foreign guy that's just there, and he's just like, hey guys, how's it going? I speak English? I didn't really get what his thing was.
Well, it was explained, but like his one of his parents was from the town, and one of his parents was from another place.
Yes, you're right.
I will say one thing: the scene that made me laugh the loudest in the entire show, and maybe this is why I got so disappointed after, was in episode 1 when Yoshi is getting onto the bus and she's trying to leave, and there's Sandal in the back, and he just says something totally weird. And Yoshi just slowly backs off the bus.
I love that scene. And Cassie, go back and listen to our impressions episode, because I mentioned that exact same scene.
Oh my god, it was great. That was everything about that one itty bitty blip of a scene in episode 1 was perfect.
So good.
But besides him, I didn't find anything that really made me laugh. What was the name of the old guy who ran the tourism board?
Kodata.
Yeah, again, I wanted to like him, but I didn't really like him. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just like, even when they tried to give him a backstory, to me it seemed very... like, I didn't understand the motivations in his backstory.
One other thing that made me laugh, at least the first time, and then again it kind of fell into they bring it up again, but eventually they let it go. The first time a character sees a bug and screamed, I appreciated it, because I was like, that's me.
Yeah.
In my own house.
Yeah, always. And with the old man, Kodata, the point I was getting to with him is that, like, his whole quirk is being crazy and over the top, and very into getting into his role as the Chupacabra Kingdom manager, or whatever the crap his title is at this point. And it just wasn't appealing. Like, it wasn't funny.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, every time he got in the suit and stuff and was like, sha, 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 I was like, I'm not laughing. I'm just kind of sitting here awkwardly.
I kind of want you to go away, just like everybody else does in this show.
So I guess that being said, I feel like we've discussed the side cast, but then there is the 5 main girls, who personally, I liked them all enough. I thought that they were acceptable. Again, I didn't necessarily love them, but like they were good. I liked that they were together. Like, I don't think I could have had the show without their dynamic. I think that's also why some of the episodes are really weak before Yoshi actually like gets them together.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked episodes that focused, and mind you, focused well, because we know the show likes to meander. I liked shows that focused well on being kind of a character builder episode for them, and kind of you got to learn more about their motivations and their resolve.
Yeah, for sure.
And I feel like there's going to be at least one girl in this cast who you feel like you can, not completely, but at least a little bit relate to, especially because a lot of people, us included, will be watching this going through very similar things, getting out of college and finding your first job and just 30 rejection letters right off the bat. Like,
yeah,
that's something I can relate to. I can relate to another character feeling like an outcast and like she doesn't know how to talk to people. I can relate to another girl who's extremely terrified of bugs.
Yes.
And there's these little tiny bits of relatability in the characters. One character tries at her dream and fails.
Oh my.
And those moments, like, I agree with Cammie, like, those character building moments that help them decide what they want to do for the rest of their lives, or at least in the near future, are really good. Everything else around it makes me not care about them at all. I just don't.
I think that's totally fair.
There was one character, I'm not going to say who, but there was one character that I did not like at all at the beginning of the show and ended up liking a lot by the end. So I'll give the show that much, is that if you go in not liking a character, there is a possibility by the end you may like them at least a little bit because you get to learn their motivations.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I don't know if saying who would be a good idea, but there are characters like that, and I could appreciate that.
That's true. I will say, again, tiptoeing around it, a character that I was genuinely apathetic about for the most part also was featured in the episode that, like, made me cry. So, there you go.
Maybe we can discuss it in the spoiler section.
Oh, we will. I want to. I want to blatantly talk about how good this episode was. But anyway, so then going into production, what do you guys think about when you think of the production for this show?
I think that animation-wise, it was very okay. I think that there were some moments that were very gorgeous.
Yeah.
Especially in the first couple of episodes, especially in the first couple of minutes of the first episode. They have like a pretty banquet room with lots of sparkles.
Yes.
And it was really nice and pretty. And the character designs are also very pleasant, too. I actually felt like they looked like, girls that came out of college, which was also a pleasant thing. They weren't 25-year-olds that look like lollies. But the problem I had is that there were times where the animation itself, to me, felt a little stiff. But I guess in a 25-episode show, that's kind of to be expected.
I'd agree, though. Sometimes there was a lot of just not movement. Sometimes the facial models were slightly janky to me. Like, sometimes their faces looked really narrow. Sometimes they look proportional. Just really depends on where you go. Sometimes their running and motion was good. Sometimes it looked weird. I liked the colors in this show a lot, like especially what you said with the banquet. I like the fact that our cast of girls are pretty colorful. They don't look like ridiculously inhuman, but they've all got their own like color scheme, and I liked that a lot too. What about you, Craig?
Well, I was just gonna comment by saying, I guess, like, I've never had the greatest keen eye for like art detail and broken frames, but I suppose if it's noticeable, it's more so in this show because everyone like stands around and talks a lot in this show. Like, there's not, I mean, there is movement and like they do stuff, but it's a lot of standing around and like rapping about what they're gonna do or what they've done or talking about some XYZ problem here. So the character designs, especially with the main girls, they did stand out. The only quote unquote anime-ass character you could call would be would be Yoshi with her pink hair. Everyone else is just like, got like brown or whatnot. Actually, I guess Maki has blue hair, but whatever.
Well, I think that's also a good way to set her apart from everybody else who's used to this country. So, I mean, we could go into that.
That's a good point.
But I think she's supposed to stand out. She's the outsider.
That's cool. I actually really like that, that you brought up. I will say, personally, that I loved most of the openings and endings in this song. I loved all of them except for the second opening I wasn't a big fan of.
I only really I liked opening one and ending one. I kind of
ending one was good.
Yeah, that was a really good ending. In fact, I liked it. If I rank it, I'd say that was the best one out of all four of them. I'd
probably agree. And honestly, I despised the second opening so much.
Talk about an anime-ass opening.
Well, it wasn't even just that. It's just like the song didn't fit the visuals, and like most of the visuals were just them running and looking.
Touch
the
your hand in water.
The most generic anime scenes that you could have are in that opening, and the song is very not matching. It sounds like it would be like, I think Craig said it sounded like a shonen opening song.
A Naruto or something like that.
For real. I initially started watching Sakura Quest like every week as it came out, and then I kind of stopped. And then I was listening to a podcast, and they were like, we're not going to put the second opening on here. That was Otaku Spirit, by the way. They do cool anime music episodes.
I like those.
Yeah, that I was listening to. And they put the second ending, which I like, but then they were like, I'm not going to put the opening. And I played the opening on YouTube, and I was like, I literally did a double take, and I was like, this isn't the actual song, right? Like, this is something that someone put up because of copyright. Like, it's that jarring. Like Cassie said, it does not fit the visuals at all. The visuals are also unmotivating, and it's just a disappointment to me because I think that the first opening really like gets the mood set, gets like what you want out of the show. Like, I love the first opening. I would play it in the morning when I was getting ready for work to get myself out of a bad mood. It just fit, and I'm really bummed that it moved into something that did not fit.
And to be fair, like, I didn't hate the first opening, but it wasn't as fun to me as other anime openings have been. Like, I watched it the first couple of episodes, and then I skipped it every other time.
Yeah, same.
Oh, gotcha.
And that's fine. Like, everybody's going to take something different from it, but I always listen to the ED. And I loved the ED. And I loved the headphones and the sparkles and the color palette. Everything about that ED was perfect.
It looked like they were singing to it, too.
Yeah. Like, that was very nice and almost melancholy in a way, and I liked it, and it was very peaceful and nice, and if I wasn't already falling asleep at that point, I probably could have. But yeah, I didn't like a lot of the openings and endings except for the first ED, but I thought the first one was passable, and then the second one was atrocious, and then the second ED I don't even remember. It's so forgettable.
I really loved the second ED just because it was, like, peaceful to me. It was also the same... No, it wasn't the same band who did the first ED. It was the same band that did the first opening.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. For me, I liked them. I thought they fit the country charm. But again, also, I could definitely see how they would be construed as kind of boring. Especially when the show gives off a lot of that vibe.
What about the sound design of the actual, like, episodes themselves?
I don't really remember any soundtrack except for some instrumentals that were covers of the original opening. So it was meh.
Yeah,
it was there.
It fit the mood for like the sentimental moments, and like you said, just the instrumental of the opening.
There is a song that a character sings that I liked.
Oh yeah, that goes without saying.
I like that song a lot. I got annoyed that they did it like 6 times.
I liked it when it was initially presented. I can agree there, because they really like to beat that into your face.
Yeah.
Like, hey, remember that time when so-and-so sang a song and it brought everyone together? We should keep doing that. Let's make a whole thing around. Let's do...
Again,
and it was just
and
funny,
again,
too, because, like, they had her... they're like, okay, we're going to present it another time, but let's even show the, like, first half of the song when they're practicing it. And I'm like, show. Come on. Like... Keep some integrity of it a little bit.
Nah, man, nah.
But yeah, the initial singing of the song, though, was very pleasant, and I liked it. I liked the song a lot.
That moment was really nice.
Yeah, and it was very a cappella for the most part, which was really nice. But yeah, other than that, like, there was nothing really amazing about sound or music. The voice acting I thought was passable. It was okay.
Again, yeah, it's that I don't really think that anything really... okay, so I guess I liked the voice acting, again, with the main cast. I mean, I loved the bug screams a lot. I loved Sandal-san's eccentricity. And I liked, there was some of it I liked. I don't think it was, like, really, really, like, amazing, but I thought it was good. Like, it served its purpose well. There wasn't anyone where I was like, this sounds bad or weird.
How was the English dub, Craig?
That's what I was just about to point out. So, I watched the first 20 episodes on Funimation Now and the last 5 on Crunchyroll. I gotta tell you, both dub and sub are very okay. I found it interesting that the Japanese voice for Mr. Kodata was a lot lighter than the English counterpart. The English makes him sound a lot gruffer and more of a curmudgeon. Other than that, Sandal-san in English is voiced by Jerry Jewell, which, imagine that for a second, it actually fits. And Brina Palencia voices Ririko, and they dub some of the music, the song.
Oh,
that
cool.
That cast likes, so they actually dub that, and a certain character sings that in English as well.
That's awesome.
So
I did not know that.
Yeah, that was just a personal touch, and other than that, I liked it all the same. The acting was good for what it was done.
Did you prefer one over the other?
It's interesting because, like, I honestly grew used to the English, but I can see why some people would like the Japanese. I like Japanese Shiori a little bit more than the English, funny enough, but for the most part, I stuck with English because I got used to it after a certain point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That makes
Nice.
sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If we're ready to hop into ratings, I will go last because I swam the show, and I think that's how we do our new rule thingy here.
Okay.
I am more than game for that. Craig, you go first.
Okay, so said it before and I'll say it again. I tried jumping off of the Titanic. No, that's not that bad. I tried jumping off the ship before, and then Cass.
I like
pulled me
that. I
back
tried
in.
jumping off the Titanic. Okay, it wasn't that bad.
Okay, and then Cass pulled me back in with the life preserver and said, "No, you gotta stay with us. You gotta stay with us." And I'm like,
We're gonna go
fine,
down with this ship.
Fine, I'll go down with it. For what it was, I thought it was very blasé. It took its dear sweet time to get to its end goal. It had, as I said, nuggets of relatability, tenderness, care. You got to see some character development, but goddamn, were there some story arcs, and we'll get to these in a hot minute, where what was the point, or goddamn, these characters literally just come and go and you forget about them. But honestly, go watch Shirobako than this, because Cammy over there will praise Shirobako for being handled way better in its direction than this, different director, etc. Mm-hmm. So honestly, I'm gonna say skip it.
Okay, so I mirror a lot of Craig's sentiments, but I don't think that I was as offended. I felt that there were moments where I enjoyed my time. And to be completely honest, if this were a 12-episode show,
oh yeah,
if this show had ended at 12 episodes, I'd probably give it like a check it or something. However, the sheer fact that you would have to dump 25 episodes worth of your time just to finish this show and get anywhere close to a conclusion makes me fall more into the skip it category as well. I feel like there are other shows out there that do something very similar, but they do it in a much more, I guess, direct fashion and in the exact same amount of time. Because I believe Shirobako was a little over 20 episodes as well. However, that execution was handled well. However, there are plenty of other shows that handle working girls working, and they do it in a much tinier package. New Game, for example, is a little bit more, peppy and brightly colored and a little less, serious, but it even goes into working girls doing working things, and each of those seasons is like 12 episodes, so you can get in and you can get out and you can get your feels and you can get your relatability, and you don't have to feel like you're dragging along. And for that reason alone, I'll probably give it a skip it as well. I don't feel like this is something that you need to spend your time on. I feel like it does some good things, but I don't feel like the wait is worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. Let me see here. So, I've been waffling on this a lot, as far as my score. Personally, I was dabbling between a check it and a like it, because I really did appreciate the moments where I could appreciate this show. But the fact is, that's really just true, and the matter is that you're slogging through a lot. Interestingly as well, because I like to keep up with critics, and just I've also heard a lot of offhand discussion about this. A lot of people really like this show. So there are a lot of people, while we may not be in that audience, and as per usual, it happens with any anime, really, really love the show. I thought it was fine, is essentially really my thing. I think that it was long. It was the first time really in any of these working girl shows that I've watched. The PA Works one, Shirobako, Hanasaku Iroha. This is the only one that, like, I was sometimes paying, like, half attention to, or felt like, oh, I have to get through this really, more than just, like, being along for the ride. And so that really does weigh in, but for the most part, like, it was trudge for me, but it was like the type of trudge that I like. I guess I'll just say that. So I could tolerate it.
So you weren't looking at the time code in the episodes and wondering, are we at the end of are we almost done with this episode yet?
Nah, it was more of just, when are we going to get past this stupid arc into something that I might enjoy?
Yeah, you'll have that.
But the things that I liked, I did like, and I'm going to give it a check it, especially since apparently so many other people really like it. So there you go. Pretty much what I predicted our scores would be, so I'm not too surprised. And with that said, if you want to jump out so you don't get spoiled, you could do that now while we hop over into spoiler room.
Get in our comfy spoiler chairs.
All right, you have been warned. So my favorite episode, for many reasons, was episode 20, where they had the school revival play thing. And we got to learn about, like, Maki and her dad, and they turned the school into the community center. Like, everything about that episode, for me, I really, really appreciated a lot. And then when we found out her dad is the one that, like, donated, I cried.
Aww. Yeah, for sure. Because she felt as though that, like, there was, like, a strained tension between her and her father and whatnot.
I think, again, relatability, just because my dad is also someone that's, like, harsh, but is also, like, pursue these things that you want, and he's seen me fail, and I've seen him become distant from that, but also kind of, like, Maki's resolve also of, like, even if I can't directly pursue what I want to do, I'll do it in the jobs that I do, really resonated with me, so I think there was just a lot there that I took personally and appreciated. And I also just thought they flattened out some of the bullshit there, even though the subject of the play was kind of silly.
Is that the episode where she got her results from her acting audition? Okay, yeah, that was poignant as well.
Yeah, I liked that, where they were like, step forward to all these people, and then she ended up not making the cut. Like, that was pretty devastating. And then, like, when she was, like, riding the train back and she has her little mini breakdown.
Yeah.
However, I don't know, like, it didn't hit me as hard, but I did appreciate it a lot. It was, like, one of those episodes where I was like, I can appreciate Maki as a character. And I can appreciate her dad. Although, I guess for me, the problem with that is that I never really understood why they were fighting in the first place.
Yeah.
Like, because the dad, like, they never had, like, a flashback to, like, the dad saying, I'm so disappointed in you, or her coming to the resolve that she needed to leave home. Like, that to me is where things felt a little meh, and that's where I kind of was like, on Maki as a character, because the dad was very blatant about how much he cared for his daughter.
Oh, yeah.
He just got kind of annoyed with her when she just randomly showed up at their house after leaving, and I mean, I can't blame him for that, to be fair. But she always was just so stuck up about everything, even when he was trying to help. And we never were given a reason why.
Yeah, again, it's like her motivations, I think in the beginning especially, are very like not clear. I had to remember, and again, because we stretched through so much shit and you forget these details, that I was like, wait, oh, that's right, she like left college, whatever, and gave up essentially. And I had to remember that. I think for me, I got a sense of it with like the family dinner a little bit, but also the show and just dropping exposition was pretty bad.
Well, I mean, they did say that, but they didn't even say the dad got mad about it. She just, from what all I know, she just assumed it because they never gave us that flashback or even the one line of dialogue that would have made it clear to me, my dad got mad at me because I left college. I think... even when they went to dinner, or the brother would be like, dude, you do realize dad wasn't even mad.
Yeah.
He never said he was mad. Like, it was like she was making an assumption.
Yeah.
And I guess that's why... I don't know. Like, I couldn't get behind it as much. But I did like how it was executed and how he cared so much for her. I just kind of didn't like how much she didn't really seem to care until the very end. Because he was doing stuff for her throughout the whole show. Like, even, like, the first time when they, like, gave her the... Because this was the part that got me. Like, I loved that part that you mentioned, but the one that got me and made me tear up a bit was when she got the video from her brother where her dad, like, literally only filmed her as the tree.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And she's still a major bitch to her dad after that.
I should go back and rewatch, yeah, because I remember them fighting, but I guess I thought it was more even than that. Ugh, maybe she was a bitch to her father. But it shows how much attention I was paying.
Well, it's not even that. It shows how little, like...
It explains or fleshes it out.
Like, they explained or flesh, or even, like, keep things consistent in your brain. They're just... so all over the place.
Oh,
like,
I agree with that completely.
Yeah. But no, I did really I loved the father-daughter interactions. I just wish that it had been fleshed out a little more. And they could have done that if they, like, I don't know, didn't have that random episode about woodcutting.
I think the other thing in that episode, though, that I liked is it was, like, there were many times in the latter half where they're trying to get shit done, and then, like, you'd have those god-awful council meetings, and they're not getting anywhere. But, like, the instant I heard about this school that's shutting down, I'm like, no shit, make it a community center. Like, do this, guys, please. And they actually did, and I was like, thank you, because half the time, the show didn't do what I thought was obvious or what I wanted them to do. But I liked that they finally had a good idea and also achieved on it, because the show didn't give me enough of that. It was just constant failure. So I was like, thank you.
Constant failure.
This one thing.
Who was the character that you ended up liking by the end?
Oh, well, for me, I mean, I didn't hate Maki, but I didn't think I'd be emotionally invested in her. And in in her resolve after the failure, and then, like, mending things with her dad and finding the way that she could still act even though she couldn't be an actress, essentially, I liked a lot.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah. I like the fact that, dialing it back a little bit to the previous episode before that, before she did her audition, Yoshi goes up to her and says, go do your audition. I don't have it. Right? Like, she said, after this year, I don't have anything. I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do. You have talent. You can do this. Go do it. And I'm like, good on you, Yoshi. Yeah, you told her to do something. Good on you. Good.
That was another thing. Like, there were just so many... That was one of the few moments where I really, really was like, oh, thank God they gave Yoshi a character. Because I feel like she faded to the background a lot, which was weird because she was the main character. I did like the episode where she went home.
I loved that one, too. I agree.
That one was great. And especially because that one was after, like, a massive failure.
Yeah.
All right.
She went home and, she went home and actually got a different perspective.
I was saying to get to, because that episode mostly, did focus on Yoshi going home, but then you also had, like, Maki getting a drink with her friend and, like, other people, and they were talking about, basically, their lives outside of Manoyama and outside of the tourist thing, and I told Get, I was like, why is all of this, like, 200 times more interesting than anything they are doing in Manoyama? Like, I just want them all to do their own shit. Like, it'd be a more interesting show.
Follow the lives of working girls in different locations. I like that idea.
Yeah.
Another, the character that I ended up liking it by the end was the sweets shop lady, the old lady.
Oh,
yeah.
definitely.
Ririko's grandma.
Yeah, Ririko's grandma. I actually kind of did not like her at the beginning, which I guess you're not supposed to.
No.
Because she's set up as, like, the antagonist that's, like, gonna make everybody fail at everything they want to do. And she's always going to be this constant, like, wall in the way of them trying to do anything. And it turns out that she actually just has very specific motivations and thinks in a very specific way. And once they're more open to figuring out what that is, she becomes way more open. And you actually get to see her not only as a community leader, but also as a grandmother to her granddaughter. And she becomes a very big motivator for her granddaughter. And I love that one relationship. Maybe it's the same thing that you felt for Maki and her dad. Because that's the bit that got me, was when Ririko was going to go on stage and her grandma was just like, I want you to write the word for person on your hand and then just, like, eat it, and then you'll be able to go up there and do great. And she's like, was that what you did when you were younger? And she's like, yeah, and I did awesome, and you're going to do awesome too. And it's that moment that, like, Ririko finds her resolve to do something that she wants to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I loved that. That whole bit just got me so hard. So yeah, I think I had the Maki dad thing only with Ririko and grandma.
Yeah. And again, I think that shows that there's some nice niches in there of just, like, small moments of relatability, and you don't necessarily know where it will come from. And I, like we mentioned before, I think that those are a scattering of episodes that did it really strong. But I wish the whole show did that, but it didn't.
Yeah, there's just so much meandering. It's so unfortunate.
I mean, you have that arc dedicated to the old men and how they learned to get technology to work. And I messaged Cass and I was
so bored.
I messaged Cass.
So boring.
I messaged Cass and I was like, so is this what it was like to work at a customer's call center? Did you turn the computer on? No? Well, you might want to do that.
And the whole, like, holding Yoshi, like, hostage
Yeah.
thing, it was silly and stupid. And, like, I kind of got where they were going with it. But at the same time, I feel like they just could have gone with that. Also, another question that I never answered, but wasn't the, like, golden dragon that Angelica gave them, like, the right ornament, and then they ended up using the toy dragon? That always bothered me.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she gave them, like, a golden dragon and was like, here's this thing. And then it's, like, never mentioned again. And I thought there was going to be, like, a sudden realization of, oh, crap, like, 6 episodes she gave us this thing and it's the real dragon. And no, they just used a toy.
Yeah, remember?
Which is fine, I guess. But, like, why was that there?
Because it's all about believe.
Like, why did we need to hunt down the, like, 7 national treasure thing? Like, there were just so many moments like that where I was like, why do we need this? Do we need this?
Nope.
I don't think so.
Did we need the moment where Angelica's kid threw a freaking hissy fit?
Oh my
and didn't
god, no.
For 3
Oh
episodes?
my god, that
Dumb.
was so stupid. Like, we had enough of the whole, like, city girl wanting to leave the country in the first couple of episodes. Yeah. And poor Shiori, just leave her alone, man. Just let her love her town.
It's
Stop
okay.
shitting on her.
It's okay, her sister is in love with the cook that makes French toast.
Okay, now that was kind of cute.
That was cute. He went to France to make French toast, but realized that France never made French toast.
Like, that made me laugh. That was cute as fuck. And I love that it, like, the reason they missed each other was she had the wrong calendar.
Yeah, because she forgot about it.
Because she was a ditz. Like, I thought that was super cute.
Yeah.
I liked the talk that Shiori and her dad had as well. Back when everybody thought that, like, she was the one that was going to get married, but they, like, talked about the future of their, I believe it was a farm.
Yeah.
And just being happy. That was really nice. That was a very quiet moment that I appreciated.
I have one more thing that I just want to point out why they needed to do this. One gag through line that I kind of question. The men in their 30s, the bus driver, the bookstore owner, and the policeman, let's have a singles meetup. Oh man, the ladies are hot. I gotta find a way to court these ladies out of town, because God knows.
That was the most cringe thing.
Oh, it's bad. It is so bad. Like, I get the fact that you live in a hick town in the sticks, but dude, you're driving it home hard.
Like, yeah, I thought that one specific guy in there was kind of a creep. But what
policeman.
actually, it's funny when you mentioned that, I actually thought of a different thing that pissed me off. I hated how in the thing with all the old people, the old men would not stop talking about Sanai's ass. I hated that.
Yep.
Yeah, that was really gross.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's
And
in
like
the
one
dub,
of them
too.
like blatantly like groped her in the dark.
Yeah.
Like that was really poor taste, and I did not like that.
Yeah. I mean,
Nope.
I don't necessarily think it was the show just going for fan service. It was showing people being awful, but like at the same time, they hammered it home and it was uncomfortable.
It was a couple of times that like butts were mentioned a lot, and
It was.
And poor girl, like there was like a bunch of kids that ran up to her and told her she had a fat ass too. So.
Oh my god, I actually love that scene with the kids being awful because that's how I feel on a daily. It was
Oh,
just
God.
like, man, give her a break.
One other touching scene that happened early on that I really enjoyed was that she already had a house that she was really attached to because she knew an older woman there, and they had to give it up for like a film thing.
Yeah.
And that's like the biggest thing we get for Shiori, I guess, which is unfortunate because up until I met Ririko and got to know her better, like Shiori was like my favorite character. I thought she was just so cute and so pleasant, and she just wanted so many good things. Like out of the entire cast, I think she was the one who genuinely wanted to revitalize the town before everybody else. And so when you see her go into turmoil and she actually has to pick between something that could revitalize the town or something that held special memories for her, that was actually a really good conflict because it really brings like her conflict into another conflict that are basically the same conflict. How do I preserve these things that are special to me, and which is more important? And I really did appreciate that her and Yoshino had that, or Yoshino? How they had that fight. And then Yoshi really learned something from that and then like got the little dedication in the final credits for the lady that lived there. Like that was a really nice touch, and I really appreciate, like there is just so much good in this show, and that's really why I feel bad about like saying skip it, but at the same time it's just like I hate how long it takes to get to them.
Oh, for sure.
For sure. What else can I... Okay, so I wasn't exactly clear, and I kind of Googled it, but I guess in the end... Also, actually, regarding Shiori's character, it makes sense that she stayed on and essentially is going to be doing more, like, town reinvigorating work because she's the one that cares about that. I liked that.
Yep.
I really liked that they split up at the end. That's what I wanted. It was very real, and I liked that they all had some sort of direction. It wasn't perfect, but they had somewhere to go. I liked that a lot.
Can you explain to me what Yoshi did? Because I don't think I completely understood. Did she just go to another town?
I think
That's
that's
what I was
she's
going to ask,
leading
too.
to.
Like, I didn't fully get it either. I was like, wait, so she's actually going to stick with this job, even though I didn't really get the... I mean, I kind of got the sense that she found it rewarding, but it was also kind of weird. I was like, really?
I was just going to say, if she wanted to keep doing work like that, why not stay...
Yeah.
Where she already has roots and where she... And I mean, I guess they brought up that thing where if she stayed there too long, she wouldn't be an outsider, I guess.
Yep.
But, like, I don't know. That doesn't seem like a reason to send her somewhere completely different. But they said she didn't go home, but they had, like a welcoming party for her. So it's like, did she just go to another town to do more revitalization?
It was ambiguous, right?
It was very ambiguous, and I wanted to know, like, what she did, so that kind of disappointed me, or I was, like, weirded out. I was like, couldn't we make this a little bit clearer? But yeah, I assume she's basically, like, pop-up starter tourism and then hop somewhere. I don't know. It was weird. I agree.
It was weird because when she got the call from her agency, she took it off screen.
I was like, jeez.
And to a point where when she left on the train, I got Persona vibes, so I'm like, oh god, she made social links with all these characters, and she's leaving.
Okay.
I'm like,
with the sign the old man was holding and him running and yelling that she was always welcome there. Yeah. Okay, that got me. I will admit, my Kokoro Dokoro, I don't know.
I think it was all of those elements, but also they were playing the first ending. So it was just, like, manipulatively not fair as well. I agree, because that also kind of got me. And I was like, I know I didn't give this much of a shit about the show, but I'm slightly tearing up at this moment, because, I don't know, they're just doing the ending thing. And, yeah,
I don't know. It just her going to another place, and with random people. Welcome. She's gonna flip tourism states all over Japan, guys. It's her new passion. Probably. I don't know.
IDK, my BFF Jill.
That's all I got.
I was really hoping that they would do like a Sister Cities thing at some point. And then I was like, oh, well, she could go to the sister city and just save him. Actually, when all the like Latino people, the Spanish speaking people came, I was like, sister city, but it wasn't.
The Chupacabra, man, the Chupacabra. They have to go all across the world to find that thing.
But that was another thing that they brought up, doing a sister city with like wherever Sandal was from, or whatever. And then like, did we ever get an answer? Like, they said they were gonna do it, but I don't think they ever like said if that actually happened, or like they threw in this thing at the very end where like they were apparently going to possibly be dissolved.
Yeah, they're gonna merge the cities.
Yeah, and then they don't touch it.
Nope.
No, like, just, like, I understand that, like, stuff like that takes a while, but it could have taken one little, like, you know how at the end of a show, like, they won't necessarily show it to you, but they'll say, and then 10 years passed, and this happened, forward. The end. Like, it's not even a flash forward, it's words on the screen. It just tells you, this is what happened, the end. And I'm like, that would have been great. Because there's just so, and I guess that's another reason why I just kind of came out of this property feeling so annoyed, is that I didn't technically get an ending.
Interesting.
Do you count it as an ending if, like, the girls, like, found a resolve and wanted, like, got better at the end?
I don't know what their resolve is. Like, I kind of can infer what Shiori's is, but I don't know. Maki? At the end, I don't know what Yoshi took from it. Because I don't know what she did. And then, I don't... And Maki, I guess, finds her resolve, sure, but I feel like one of the biggest things was, we want to revitalize the town. Well, did you or did you not revitalize the town? I
felt like, and this is kind of just worrisome, and it's definitely not a way to excuse an end, because I agree with you. I don't necessarily feel like I didn't get an end, but I feel like it wasn't very well wrapped up.
No, it wasn't.
So I got kind of a ending. But I lost my... I got a sense, especially after the blunder at the end of the first half, that they realized, to me, where you need to start is revitalizing the town for the townspeople rather than tourists, which I liked. But I agree with you in that, and again, this is something Shirobako does well, there is a concrete resolution of the goal, and you know exactly what it looks like, and you know how it's going to happen, and this show didn't have that with the town. They were just doing, like, ambiguous things.
Yep.
Yeah. And like, to be fair, like, some of the things were kind of cute. I did appreciate when they were, like, trying to sell the little cakes at the beginning, and they kept failing.
Oh, right.
And when Shiori's, her food dish at the first cultural festival, even though she didn't win, like, everyone was like, we wanna eat it and have it in our restaurant. And I was like, good girl.
Yeah, I appreciated that. Yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about?
No, I got nothing else.
I mean, if anything, it's one more thing that I can mark on my anime list that I watched.
Damn right.
Mm-hmm.
If anything, it was an experience that we all went through together, whether some of us took more from it or not.
I'm gonna drop you just PTSD, and I'm gonna say Sakura Quest at random times.
Sakura Quest.
Throw off your game.
Whisper it in her ear.
I have, like, so many triggered gifs so ready.
ASMR.
This is not the ASMR I wanted!
ASMR.
Alright, friends. With that, thank you for listening. I think we are outie. No! Bye-o, bye-o!